Hi, I'm Greg Ismay and welcome to the blog. Today we're going to talk about the upfront out-of-pocket costs that buyers need to plan for in order to purchase a home. Okay, so let's talk about some benchmarks that buyers can plan for out-of-pocket expenses when purchasing a home. The first thing is our offer to purchase and contract was revised a few years ago. It now has a stipulation for due diligence deposit. Now that's a deposit that the buyer gives to the seller. It's non-refundable. It does credit back to the transaction as long as the buyer has a successful close. Now the due diligence deposits are ranging in the $500 to several $1,000 range depending on the price of the property and the competitive pressure against the property. Next up is what we call earnest money. That's another deposit that goes from buyer to seller. In addition to the due diligence, it also credits back to the transaction for the buyer upon successful close. Earnest money deposits range from the around $1,000 range to several $1,000, again, depending on the price of the property and the amount of pressure that's on the property at the time of contract. Next up, that the buyer would need to plan on spending some money on a home inspection, a termite inspection for resale, and a radon inspection in most cases. Those inspections, those big three, tend to run in the $700 to $800 range. There may be additional inspections required based on what's found. Of course, if there's a well and a septic, that would require some additional inspections. But overall, the buyer would want to plan about $700 to $800. Now, sometimes those expenses can be moved to the settlement statement, but for planning purpose, it would be good to have that up front. The last thing is, depending on who the buyer selects for their lender, there may be some upfront costs to get the appraisal process started or an application fee for the loan, and usually that's in the few $100 range. But those four main categories are what buyers need to plan for. If you have any questions about this or know of anyone who may have questions, please direct them to me. We'll get them answered. And who knows, maybe the question will be good enough to put on the video blog for a future video. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again soon.